said, so she did part of it for me. It's my turn to do a shout it out. So as I started to think about what I wanted to talk about for my testimony, like most of us, I have a lot of different things that I could talk about, right? I have like infertility and divorce and single parenting and blended families and then now chronic illness and even cancer. So I have a wide array of things I could talk about. So what I want to talk to you about today, I think when we think about testimonies in the Bible, we always think about that verse in Revelation that says they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony. And so, of course, I think that when we give a testimony, obviously we want to give glory to God. And it makes God credible, right? Like, this is what God did for me. This is what God did in this situation. But today I'm going to focus on something a little bit different. I am in 1 Peter 3, 15. And instead, it says, instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. And if someone asks you about your hope as a believer, always be ready to explain it. So that's our testimony too, right? So I started thinking about when have I really known in my spirit that God has used my testimony. And when I was younger, I was a youth worker in our church, and so I had these little girls that I had actually had them in like rainbows. Anybody know about rainbows? Okay. And then they got to middle school, and I had them in middle school, and I had them in high school, and we got really close. And now I call them my little girls, but they're in their 30s, and they have kids and husbands, and they're actually not little girls anymore, but to me they'll always be little girls. And so they were grown, and they were spread out. And so at Christmas, we would always try to meet at Grayo's or somewhere and just kind of catch up. So this one year we did that, and a couple of them had just gotten married, and a couple of them had just had a baby. And I was really, really close, and still to this day, I'm to this one, and her name is Catherine. And she had lost her mom very young, I think she was a senior in high school. And so we were very, very close. And we get up to leave. We are leaving Rayo's, right? And she leans over to me and says, please pray for me, I can't get pregnant. And she just starts sobbing. Well, she didn't know that I had major infertility issues because she was a kid. So it's not anything that she would have known. So when she told me that, it was just like the Lord said, okay, here you go. And so I said, Catherine, we need to talk. And so we got together again before she left, and I told her my story, which is, I lost my whole right side, my ovary and tube when I was 21 years old. And I was told I would never have a baby. I had failed at IVFs, all kinds of things. And then I just got pregnant with my precious baby boy, who actually will be 26 on Sunday. He's not a baby anymore. But God, that was a miracle. All babies are a miracle, but that was a true, the doctors were shaking their heads. And so I was able to just share with Catherine my story and my experience with, just the infertility drugs and, talk. This is what you need to be telling Eric because he can't understand, some of what you're going through physically. So the Lord would just give me these, thoughts in the day, call Catherine, and she'd be crying. Something else they had tried had not worked. And so this went on for a year. This was not just like one or two conversations, but it was for a whole year. But I am happy to report that she has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old now. So anyway, God came through for her. And that's the thing about our testimonies, ladies, is it gives other people hope. Because they need to know. Like Lindsay has been such an inspiration for me because she is a cancer survivor. And I'm like, you know what? God doesn't love Lindsay any more than he loves me. So if God is ready to heal Lindsay, then God's ready to heal Shira, right? And so that gives you hope as a believer to know that other people have been where you are and they're good, and that gives you hope that I'm going to be good one day. So I'm just going to, we picked on Nelda. Up there she is with her camera. Hey! We picked on Nelda this morning at the meeting because she said she doesn't have a testimony. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like all the people in the entire world, you have a testimony. We all have a testimony. We all have something to share with other people, with other believers that will build them up and that will build up their faith in the God that is ready to meet our needs. So share your testimony. Share it. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a testimony about being at the grocery store last week and falling or doing that stuff that I would do. Whatever it is, share your testimony because God is going to plant people in your lives that need to hear your story. Okay, so that's my shout it out.